one thing is constant, Bernie loved. He loved. He loved his kids, loved his grandkids, loved his dogs, loved his family, loved his friends, unconditionally. One thing I'll say about Bernie is he didn't judge anybody. He didn't judge anybody. He accepted everybody for all their shit, all their baggage, whatever it was. He took it. He loved them. Loved every one of you guys. Diana asked me if I'd say a few words, and I usually really come from behind a microphone, but it's tough when you lose someone you love. It's very tough, and everyone's dealing with that, and we will deal with that for time to come. And everyone's been to these things, and it's always awkward when someone asks you to come up and share a fun memory. It just feels weird. But I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to ask you. And I think it's very healing for the family, people that know and love him, to share those fond memories that we have of him. We all know he was taken entirely too soon from our lives, and that's just greed from us. We wanted to be around a lot longer. So a way for him to live on in us is to share those memories and share those thoughts and experiences. I'll start. There's so many I can't say here, but there's when Bernie was a police officer, he would randomly have the late shift, and I'm sure many of you were accomplices of this. If he had the night shift and he was a little sleepy, he may or may not pull in some of your driveways or in front of your houses and take a little siesta. That would happen. That would happen. Every hour he had his phone set. Every hour he'd have to radio check and check in. So he had his alarm set for 5 minutes before then. We had some crazy and epic pool parties at the house, which we were just recalling a few here with some friends at 5 o'clock in the morning. The sun's starting to come up and my wife's getting ready for work, and she'd come downstairs. We're still loaded and in the pool. What are you doing? We have neighbors. Bernie's like, I'm not here. And we bought a boat together. God, how long ago was that, right? And had some just epic times. I mean, he was a bigger than life kind of human being, and his soul shined through just his body. And I've been very blessed to know him as long as I have, and to be as close as we were. And you know, he was definitely a member of our family. He's been there for birthdays and things and graduations. He was a reader at our wedding. You know, he's been an amazing human being in my life. And again, if we could, as awkward as it is, you never get another chance to do this. Please share for the family some experiences and some fun memories you guys have of them. I've been to funerals and viewings where you just sit back, and it's just easier to sit back. It is. And then you leave there and you're driving home and you're like, shit, I probably should have said this. This would have felt great and people would have liked it. But I think it's that time where we do that. I think it is that time where we share those memories. And I think it'll help all these people here that are hurting. So I'm going to open the microphone up to anybody who'd like to come up and say a few words. Family first, if possible. And then, again, I know there's a lot of people here that loved him, so we can start from any immediate family. Please.
My dad, you're a big personality. You like to have a good time. And you know that? He taught me a lot of things in life. Sometimes I was down and out. Type of man to be. Not to draw your lines in the sand, but draw them in the concrete. Stand by it. And I will not who I am today. Times of trouble, I can talk to anybody. I don't know what the hell you're saying. I want you to go away. But me and my dad would say the same thing, and it would make sense. I'd be like, you know, he was always the person I called. Calm him down. I cares, he's generous. He can be stubborn and an asshole. So can I. So am I. Just,
Tell your sister.
I hear all the time I'm his twin. I look alike, and he'd always say, you know, you're welcome. I just fucking love that guy. He's the best worst. And Josh said any story. Honestly, there's no stories that are inappropriate for my dad. Man, he loves. He's funny. He was a good person. Made me want to. I'm proud of who I am today, and I think he is too. And he told me the whole mountain of a man when I was going through a hard time. He told me you want to be as big as a mountain and have people remember you when you pass away as this mountain of a man. You were strong, you were tall, you were beautiful, and that's how I remember him. He is. Fucking love you, Dad. Yeah. That's it.
Say who you are.
Hi, I'm Trey. I'm his son as well. Dad, he was the one person. He was one of the people I always loved, respected, and I always looked up to him. And he saved me at one point. While I was at training in AIT, I fell into a depression. I just didn't feel worth anything. I contemplated suicide. I thought about drowning, and it was the easiest way. And then one time it just snapped, and then I called Dad. I told him about how I was feeling, what I was going through. And I told him I wasn't thinking about it anymore. His response was, good, just don't do it. He didn't give me no speech or anything, but just his voice in general, it helped me. He told me just push through it, you know. At one point, he just said, ain't nothing worse than suicide. Just, if you don't go through that, you can push through anything. And he was somebody I always looked up to and respect. And I loved him too much. So when Bear called me that one morning and told me what was going on, I ran upstairs, I told Mom, and before I knew it, I was already on the floor. He left too soon, and I just wish I could have spent more time, but I'm glad at least I got to spend the last time with him that I had.
I'm Amara. I'm one of his stepkids. He loved every kid like they were his kids. And just one of my favorite memories with him is in high school. Every Valentine's Day, he would bring balloons, flowers. He'd bring Sequoia chocolate-covered strawberries. Me a big bag of Doritos. That was my favorite snack. And I can't remember what he brought my sister, but every Valentine's Day in high school, there was always something from him, and he just loved so hard. He was he was always there. He's known me since I've been in diapers, and so many memories of the house on 10th Street where Mary Ellen's at, and coming down the spiral staircase and singing Grease, and just so he's just a big part of my life. And now always there.
Well, it's a little high. I'm Elijah, I'm his daughter, and they always say it's hard to turn to the next page when you know someone won't be in the next chapter. But the story must go on. I think my story started when my dad first held me, and they continued for the next 15 years of my life, showing me what love really is. When I started having seizures, I couldn't cope. I hated myself because I just wanted to be normal. And my dad took me to all my appointments, and he told me that I would be okay and I could get through anything. Holding his hand was just comforting. Just hearing his voice was comforting, and I'll forever miss singing with him. Or when he would FaceTime me in the middle of a bar. He was just singing. And it would be like 3 a.m. on a school night. And I just listened to him sing. Or when he'd think he could set off fireworks off of a table and I got hit in the leg with the firework. Or his silly little remarks like, "Oh my Gertie."
Oh, yes.
He was a special man, and I will be sure to tell my kids all about him, even if he's not here. I'll tell them all about it. Thank you.
All right. My therapist said I need to allow myself to cry. That's why I cry so much.
That's a good therapist.
He was there forever.
Would you say who you are, honey?
I'm Aaron. I'm his sister Chrissy's daughter. I'm his niece. Thank you, Nana, for the obituary, because I felt like what she said was so fitting, because in my adult years, I have felt more like, I'm technically his god sister too, because Nana is my godmother, or Nana's my godmother, so he was technically my godbrother, and I never called him that, but like I actually felt like we like developed a relationship that was a little more than like an uncle and niece kind of relationship, and I feel so blessed for that. And of course I have more memories than I can, you know, than I can actually say here. Oh God. Whew. He was there for me in ways that my own father wasn't there for me. That always meant so much. Because he was like a male support that I didn't have in the way that I was supposed to. But something about just knowing that my Uncle B loved me and would show up for me. And he just fucking loved me. Meant so much, and in a way it validated me in a way that I needed. And when I was something funny, when I was a baby, he taught me that my elbows were bananas. He swirled my kiss. My mom wasn't that. And then I was reminded that he taught me that my name was Esther, but because I couldn't say Esther, I would say Nestor instead. So I'm sure I had a little bit of a complex off of that. And I'll share this too. This is a little weird, but it you know, it goes along with what I was saying. I remember when Aunt Yvonne and Uncle Bernie got married. And please excuse my immaturity. But in a weird way, I felt like I was gonna lose Uncle B
And I remember, I was in PMS or something, but I remember just crying, and I was like, Uncle Bernie. I was like, and I just started crying. He was like, what? And I was like, you know, I think I said something along the lines like, things are gonna change and I'm gonna lose you. And he's like, I'm not going anywhere. It's like, Aaron. The sentiment was like, get your shit together. And I did. And he didn't go anywhere. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. And I'm thankful for that always. And I'm thankful for the time, I'm thankful for the countless memories, and I'm thankful for his love and support that he gives all of us, and I'm thankful for all his damn children, because I love all of my cousins so much, they mean everything to me, and I'm so heartbroken because I just wish to be.
Bear. I'm one of Dad's son.
Whoa.
He's always helped me through trying times, and he's always said the right things. And again, a lot of the memories of that appropriate right now. I think my favorite one was every time you come home, he always has something to say, and he'd always sit me down and it'd be a school night, and he'd talk for hours and end up being 4 in the morning at school. But he always would ramble a lot about stories and something that was so long ago that didn't matter now, but I just don't know how to feel.
I'm Leah. I'm one of his stepkids.
You're his daughter. Yeah.
I remember the first day I met him, when my mom and him first were together. It's actually funny because I had a little stuffed doll and I ran it up with a lawnmower and tied its leg in a knot and called it Eileen. So that's the first day I met him. But I don't know, he was just my person. He's who I went to for everything. He was the first person I told when I was pregnant. And I'm just really glad he was there to meet her. About the firework incident that Elisha said. That was actually it was 4 years ago today when we were out at the cottage. Oh my God. And we didn't have one of the tubes for the mortars, so we kind of makeshift made one. And it blew up and we all had welts all over us because it blasted us. I actually have the video. You could just like lit it and you're just booking it. And then our trip to Cook's Forest, that was supposed to be an annual thing. So Bear, Storm, all of you guys, we're gonna do that this year. I want to make a trip to Yellowstone.
Yes.
I want to do all that for him.
Yes.
So.
Yvonne, ex-wife, mother of 4 of his kids and 2 of his grandchildren. So he taught you that your elbows were bananas, and he told my kids their knees were apples. So that was really funny. Everybody knows that Bernie sang all the time, and he would really make me sing with him a lot. I mean, kind of, I was singing this love together, like such nerds at our wedding. But I remember years afterwards, I was happened to walk into a bar that he was DJing at, and he puts me on blast. He was like, and ladies and gentlemen, my ex-wife's coming up to sing. I'm like, I'm not coming up to sing. So to the whole crowd, we got to sing Endless Love together, me and my ex-husband. Isn't that just how it was? Like, we were all cool. We both feel, you know, whether it be Mary Ellen or Mary or Melissa, that the more people that loved on my kids was best. And so there was never animosity about any of that. So he was a cool dude. He was a cool ex-husband. So.
Thank you.
Clara.
Wait, Chris.
Oh, okay.
I was not going to speak because
Say who you are, Chris.
I'm sorry. I'm Chrissy. I'm Bernie's sister. Much like the rest of you, my world shattered on Tuesday morning in a way that I cannot wrap my head around, and I don't know that I ever will. Our mothers were best friends in high school, and their love together created such a bond that passed on to us children. Bernie and I started out as little stinkers running around a very large house. And we would get in trouble for fighting, get separated to our rooms, and 5 minutes later, peeking out to each other and started rolling the ball back and forth. We couldn't be separated for very long. I have so many stories I cannot begin to share. And one of my other brothers is here with us kids, learning how to be silly little kids to silly teenagers to really great adults. The childhood memories, I know that he remembered too, and cherished as much as I did. I hope all of you take a piece of him with you, because while he could be blasé or blunt, we all knew that no matter how he was looking at us and saying, stop, there was love there too. So much love. And I used to hate that he would be just so passive. But then I understood that was just him, and it didn't take away from what he felt for me. And I hope you all feel the same. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon, how everybody doing?
Tell
Claire.
them who you are, Claire.
My name is Clara. I'm the aunt of Sequoia, third daughter, Noah. I have a poem that I wrote. I haven't named the poem yet, so. They say this too shall pass. They say grief eventually fades. But these sins are of little comfort when you're living through such sad days. They say that time heals all, so hanging in together we'll see this through. Quiet as a whisper, you silently slipped away. We thought you was napping to energize for the day, but you were sleeping more deeply than anyone can awake. Now we spend our days missing you and crying for your sake. For such a sudden loss, there's just no way to prepare. It's gonna take a very long time to accept that you're no longer there. Thank you. Bernie, he was a very awesome person. He was a great grandfather. He was very active in his grandkids' life. He always came, he was always welcome to my house to see Nova. Him and Missy, when I wasn't able to take her to Pittsburgh to her dentist appointment, they was there. They even came when she had an appointment and supported me and everything. And I just want to thank y'all for allowing me to be a part of the family. And I love y'all.
I love you.
And we're gonna get
Clara.
through this.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, Clara. We're so lucky. That was beautiful. I know. I know. I know.
I'm Mackie. I'm one of his kids. You know, just wanted to share some of my favorite memories, but like Mara was saying, like, I was an awkward looking kid, okay? I have Valentine's Day gifts waiting for me, you know, but one thing I could always count on was like skipping past the office on Valentine's Day, and there was always big balloons like waiting in the office, and I just always knew they were mine. Like I knew they were for me, and it didn't matter how awkward I was because that was one Valentine's Day gift I was always getting every single year. And Josh was talking about his night shifts, like as a police officer, and
Sneaking out.
Oh,
that was you, okay? I didn't sneak out.
Wait, listen, can I tell the story? Go ahead.
But yeah.
you know you may not interrupt your sister.
But one thing was just, it's so funny, like, and my mom were so opposite when they got together, and she was more strict and just, you know, in her demeanor, and Bernie was just so fun and funny, but I remember, like, he would pick up some of that, and he would get home, and I knew he came home, like, overnight from his police shift because I would hear the cupboard slamming. And that was like his pet peeve. And like you knew if you left the cupboards open because he came home in the middle of the night and you would just hear wham, 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 wham. Like, crap, we're gonna hear about this like when we wake up in the morning because we didn't close the cupboards all the way. But I just think listening to everybody's stories and about Bernie is just like an underlying theme of just what a loving person he was. How funny he was, his impersonations, like, I think I get that from him. I'll save him for another time because this isn't my stand-up act, but he was just so fun and so funny and so loving, and I think everybody in this room that has said something about him can say that, and like, when I think of him, you know, it's just this light of love and laughter and fun, and I hope that, you know, that's a part of him that we all carry with us every day because life's too short, clearly, and like we just need to have fun and remember him in that way. That's all I have to say.
Cameron, were you gonna say something for your mom? Or can you? You can? Okay, sure.
I'm just
Yeah.
last time I spoke, I said to women that everybody, everyone said a story and it started making me think of the stories. So now I'm done being sad. I can be happy for a quick second. I'm gonna tell you about one. I'm gonna tell you a few. I remember we lived at Cranch, and our backyard was pretty much just a fucking hill, and it sucked to mow. And I took plastic wrap and I put it down and made this water slide, like a 30-foot steep water slide. And it was super cool, but it went right into the side of the deck. So I didn't think that far ahead. I was like 14. And what did Dad and Mary come to? Man, they woke me at 3:30 in the morning, home from the park. Get the fuck up, man! We're going outside. And we sprayed the hose and we went out there and slipped, so I had to go to school. It was really fun. Yeah, it was fun. And then there's a few stories already about explosions. Love to blow shit up.
And real good bonfire.
I still do.
Get some.
Yeah, I still do. It's a problem. I lived on 4th and Poplar, and I was
Yes, it
outside
is.
burning a couch.
Yes, you were.
And we used to blow shit up. We used to throw spray paint cans too when it was like the lake would freeze, and then we'd shoot them, and they would make red paint, and it looked super cool. And then we used to blow butane cans that you buy
Oh,
from the
dear.
planter, and we'd blow them up in the fire.
So I think
Yeah,
I'd like
and
to.
I remember Dad used to have a big crappy truck.
Okay,
I got like, that's it, hold on.
just no more swearing, okay?
I don't even notice it. Sorry.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, I know, sorry, no more. And then we used to throw them in the fire and like run behind the truck. We used to have a crappy truck. I didn't swear again, did I? We used to have a crappy truck. I said crappy. And we'd go in
That's
the fire,
okay.
we'd run behind his truck. We'd hide. Oh my God, woke up the next morning, everything on the cottage had like foam from a container or paint on it or burn stains. We burned everything and couldn't do that again.
So,
It was super fun though.
I'm Diana. I'm Bernie's mother. It won't surprise any of you to know that although I knew about his being a pyromaniac, I knew that very well because if a couch had any evidence of, say, a tiny critter having crawled into it during the winter at the cottage, well, it was useless. It was going to have to be burned. But I must say that some of these stories I had not heard about keeping children up till 4 in the morning on a school night. It explains so many things. So many things.
Amen.
I am not going to tell any stories. I cannot. He was my heart. He was my eldest. I do not think I will ever be the same. I will. I'm aware that there are people in this room who have lost a child, who have, my friends, who have lost children when they were young, and some of you have lost children who were adults in at least one case who were good childhood friends of Bernie's. Little tiny kids together, Teresa. And now they're gone. And I do not understand how people survive this. It's out of the natural order. It's one thing for your parents to die. That's to be expected. It's heartbreaking when your parents die. But when your child dies, I don't know how I'll ever fall in love with life again. I don't care about it. So I'm not going to tell a bunch of stories. But I think I know that I can talk to those of you in this room, mothers and fathers who lost children. And I know I can turn to you, I can come to you when I feel that I'm never going to be able to live again. And you'll show me how you felt the spark of being able to wake up and not have it be the first thing you thought of, and maybe to have a good time again sometimes. But that's not thinkable to me right now. So I'm just going to read a couple of things. My good friend, one of my oldest lifelong friends, wrote me this morning, and I thought I would, he met Bernie when Bernie had just turned 8, and so he's known Bernie for 40-some years. And he was planning to come out from Oregon to visit this summer. And he says, Bernie dying had never occurred to me as something that could ever happen, not once. I was looking forward to seeing him when I visit this fall and imagining how I would greet him. I would just reach up and I'd hug him and say, hey, big guy. I had long looked forward to getting to know him better. At first, the qualifier was when he's more mature, which clearly never happened. But in recent years, I've realized what I really meant by that. The truth of it is when I'm more mature. He had more life under his belt than I will ever have. Richard is 77. I honor him for that and for everything else he was, and will continue to be in the lives of those who loved him and still love him. Your obituary has already told me more about him than I ever knew, and I thought I knew him. He was indeed a big man in every way, and he cut a wide wake through a sea of people who loved him. This is the poem by a poet friend of mine named Alicia Ostreicher. I had to read this recently at the death of my brother, Elliot, whose daughters are here and whose wife is here. Is Carol still here? Yeah. Hi, Carol. And it's the most comforting poem I know. And it has already comforted me as much as I'm going to be able to be comforted for a long time. It's called Death is Only. Death is only the soul in its rowboat pulling away. Wide water, wind glancing at its hair. The soul is taking great gulps of the sky. The oarlocks creak. The soul stretches and tingles. It feels happy and irresponsible the way it did in childhood. The long summers when every day sloped like a meadow, dotted with dozing cows and shady oak trees. And the nights augmented themselves like city lights coming on, one by one. An earthly curtain of light that you could just enjoy like a show. Yes, the soul it loved inhabiting the child's body. It felt free then, and it was never afraid. For years now, sipping one cup of coffee or vodka after another, pursing its lips, it has been frightened. But why? What did it fear? It can't remember. Embarked, it whispers to itself. Embarked. Now I'd like other people who might have a memory to share to come up. I think, is this it on family? Is there anybody else among his children? Okay, well, if it's good, honey, if it's gonna be another story about things he blew up.
It's not about any pyromanics.
Okay, that would be good. But we do have old friends of his here too. So if you have one little more anecdote, Trey, yeah, sure, and then anybody. Thank you all for coming.
Back when Dad was still with Mary, we always, like, one things I loved looking forward to as a kid was going over to Dad, hanging out with him. And one day they were watching a movie called The Poltergeist, found footage horror movie. And as a kid, I hated found footage. Now I kind of love it. It's interesting how to do that. But also as a kid, I pretty much believed everything I saw on TV. So Aaliyah and Bear decided to play a prank while I was gone and pretend that there was a poltergeist in the house, scaring the crap out of me. And
Dad caught wind of this and decided he was gonna make it much more real. So he would run downstairs periodically without me knowing and cut the power to the entire house. And he would do this for about an hour and a half, to the point where I was manic and screaming, "Get me out of this house." I nearly ripped a freaking rosary off of, I think it was one of Mary's friends, because I was like, the power of God needs to compel this house. So, like, Dad always had a way to just make the smallest things one of the funnest things for me. And that's why I always loved hanging out with him and just being part of his life.
Tammy, say who you are.
Hi, I'm Tammy. I wasn't planning on this. First of all, Diana, you know how much I love you and love Bernie. So I wanted to do this for you because I've known Bernie since I was 13 years old. He was my first crush. And anyone who knows me, I don't get up and talk in front of people. I was the shy, quiet one. Everyone knows Bernie was larger than life. And I was the serious one. He always could just make me laugh and kind of gotta lighten up, Tam, you gotta have fun. But I wanted to say what I take most from Bernie. I have so many stories I could tell, but I just wanted to say, I know Bernie would want Diana to know how much he loved you. He told me all the time. Chrissy, he adored you. And to all his ex-wives, we know he loved women. Missy, I haven't had the pleasure to meet you.
This is Missy.
I've seen the pictures, and I'm glad he had someone in his life when he passed. But he loved each and every one of you in some way, shape, or form. And I knew every single time he got married, every single time he got divorced, every single time he had a child and another grandchild, and he could keep loving. His heart was so big, he had so much room to keep loving. And I just want you all to know how much he loved you all. And I'm just so sorry.
Thank you, Tammy. Thank you, dear. Thank you, love.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Eric Campbell. I became good friends with Bernie recently. He was very unselfish. Just recently, he knew Aaron Lewis from Steen was my favorite artist. I told him he wanted me to go with him and Missy, and I said I can't afford it. He sent me a screenshot to my Facebook Messenger. Here's the tickets, buddy. Pay me when you get the money. And felt like a little kid. I ran to my wife, Lisa, and said, "Thank you. Look, guess where we're going." And I made sure I got him that money as quick as I could. And he was so excited, you know, just to do that for me. And he's like, "Yes, I can't wait. You know, I can't wait to do this for you." And I made sure I tried to go to almost every karaoke that he was DJing. I'd put up Exotic Eric, and he loved calling it out, "Exotic Eric, come on down." And he would sit there and sneak me in extra songs, and I'd say, "No, you don't have to do that." And he'd say, "I don't want to hear that other person sing, come on." And there's so many times, you know, I wanted to sing more, and he knew it. He'd look up at me and say, "Whenever you're ready, come help me out with this song, please." And he just made sure he always said, "I love you, man." And as a guy, you hear that from people out and about, and maybe 10% of the people actually meant it. And he truly meant it. "I love you, brother. Thanks for being my friend. Thank you for, you know, taking care of my girlfriend, Missy, you know." And he loved being around you guys. He'd say all the time, "You know, I love being around your wife." And it just we got closer and closer and closer. And I'm just so grateful that I had the opportunity to meet him. I'm never going to forget him. And that moving forward, everything I do positive is going to be in his memory. And he loved music, and so did I. We'd sit there and just check this song out, check this song out, we could do it for hours until the birds started chirping. And I didn't want to leave, and I felt bad because my wife's waiting at home for me. You know, I
How
was
many
only...
times you opened the door at 5 o'clock in the morning and said I was at Bernie's? And Mr. messaged me the next morning and saying, yeah, everyone's feeling so rest this morning. It's fine.
And he was just so unselfish. That's the biggest takeaway. And he loved rock music. And if anybody got it in you, if you could give the rock something right now for Bernie. We love you, Bernie. Thank you so much for everything you've done for me.
It's okay, honey, just breathe. Take your time. Just breathe. It's okay. Deep breath.
Okay, I'm Chloe. I'm one of his grandchildren.
Deep breath.
I don't have many memories of him, but I do know he was so amazing. And I remember all the times he would try to scare me and whatnot, because I was just like, such like shy and scared of everything. I looked up to Bernie a lot. And I never really realized how important he was until I heard what happened. I wasn't really gonna come up here and say anything because I didn't think that what I said would be very important because I don't remember much. But I just know Bernie was amazing, and I'll never have another person like that in my life.
Thank you, sweetie. Thank you, darling. I remember when you set up the speaker for you to sing. Yes. I think Randy.
Is there anyone else that'd like to say a few words?
Yeah, we have, no, Randy.
Oh, okay. Right.
Okay.
Okay.
No, you stood up, I think you committed now.
There's just a few more minutes of, if anyone would like to share a quick memory, and then we're going to move on.
Erilyn wants to too.
Okay,
Yeah,
she'll
go
be
ahead.
next.
And then we do need to conclude, yeah.
Hi everybody, I'm Corey Braden. I've been friends with Bernie for over 25 years now.
Oh, you're Corey.
Yes.
Hi.
I've actually never, I think maybe one
I
time
know,
we have
I've heard
met.
your name for years. Yeah.
I'm kind of in disbelief of why I'm here today, as I'm sure everyone else is. You speak of love, and Bernie could not love as much as he did. You kids, he spoke of you guys. I'm talking every single conversation we had, one of you was in that conversation. He loved you guys unconditionally and would do anything for anyone at any time. That was Bernie. That was what he did. He was also a tenant, along with a friend. And I owned a flat. He lived upstairs, I lived downstairs. And he would often come home. And when he would come home, he'd get his mail,
And instead of going down and going upstairs to his apartment, he would nonchalant open up my door, just come walking in like he owned the place, and he would sit down for an hour, 2 hours, have a conversation. How was your day? What was going on? That was Bernie. That was the person he was. He would go upstairs, funny story, and he'd let baby downstairs. Baby's running around in the backyard. He had a hard day at work, and next thing you know, he passes out, and baby's downstairs in the backyard. And I look out my back door, and there's baby looking in.
Yeah.
So Sherry would open up the door, let him in. Baby would be laying on the couch, all nice and nonchalant. All of a sudden, Bernie would call, "Corey, I think I lost baby. I think I lost baby. I think she's running out. I don't know where she's at. I don't know what's going on." And I'm like, "Bern, it's cool. She's on my couch. She's nice and chill. It was a hot day. It was good. She's good. Everything's fine." That was Bernie. He was just that kind of person.
He told me about that happening.
He did.
Yes, several times.
Yeah, I can't. Just know that he loved every single one of you unconditionally, and I'm sorry for the family, for the friends, but know that we are better people today because of him. He has made us better people. He has taught us how to love. He has taught us how to be kind. He has taught us how to be funny. He has taught us how to blow stuff up, apparently. That was just the man he was. As a father, as a son, he loved. And we love you, Bernie. Thank you.
Marilyn, you get the last word, I think. Unless you're going to go up there and help her.
Yeah, 'cause I don't know what she's going to say.
Oh,
Hi, my name's Erilyn. I never got to see him very often, but every single time I did see him, it was pretty fun. I do remember when me and my cousins were little. I'm not sure what we were doing. We were fighting over a broom, I think. And then he would check on the cameras, and we'd be called into the room, and he'd stare at his phone like, "I gotcha! I finally gotcha!" And we'd be separated and in trouble. He was always just so energetic and funny, and I still never got to talk to him that much because he was always talking about alcohol and rock music with my mom. But even though I didn't get to see him very often, every single time I did, I hope that it will last forever.
Well, thank you all so much for sharing those awesome memories of Bernie Mac.
Bernie
That's right. That's right. EJ Bernie Mac. We can all tell by the stories that he held a special place in their heart for everybody in here, and vice versa. Everyone here has said how big of a heart he had, and how much he loved everyone here, and that was true. Again, I'll just reiterate, he accepted everybody for who they were, didn't care about anything else. And my own personal thing with losing Bernie is I've had, again, the pleasure of speaking with him, highs and lows throughout his life, and the one thing I will say about Bernie is he lived his life exactly how he wanted to live his life.
Josh, yes.
He knew there were costs at some point in time. He was not going to let that change him. Tried a few times. We've all been there for that. But he was going to be exactly who he was until the very end. And again, I'll reiterate what everyone else has said. In the million conversations I've had with him, all of you were first. All of you. There was no step. You were his kids. So at this time, Mike's going to play the final song. There will be, for immediate family only, please, a ceremony out at Cottage in New York. There will be a celebration of life on the 17th at Irish Cousins, starting at 5 p.m. All are welcome and encouraged to come to that. Again, we'll do more of that, sharing those stories. If you look around this room, this is the support system. Okay? Share these memories, share this laughter. share the stories with each other. It helps. It always does. So again, I want to thank you guys so much for coming out here tonight and paying your final respects and showing that support for this family. Please continue, well after you leave here, continue to be that support system. Everyone in this room is going to need it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Josh. You were the best friend that any man could have, and in every crisis of his life, it was you he wanted to talk to. It was you he went to for advice. Thank you.